All right. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the Rising Stars in Data Science info session. My name is Julia Palacios. I am an associate professor in the Department of Statistics and Biomedical Data Science. And I'm also affiliated in the Stanford Data Science Institute. And I welcome you today. And let me start with the introductions. So this is the people who are today with us and who are also leading the program. Chris Menzel, he's executive director of the Stanford Data Science, and he will talk in a minute about the Stanford Data Science. Susan Clark, she is also leading the program here at Stanford. She's assistant professor of physics, and she's also co-director of the Center for Decoding the Universe that was recently created here at Stanford. Laura Williams, she is an assistant professor of psychology, and she's also the director of the Center for Neural Data Science at Stanford. David Uminsky, he is coming from University of Chicago. He is the executive director and research professor of the Data Science Institute, and he will also tell us about the Data Science Institute later today. Alex Cloninger, he is a professor of the Department of Mathematics and the Halishoglu Data Science Institute from UC San Diego. And we have also the participation of two alumni from this Rising Stars program, Utsab Chitra and Serena Chang, who are now assistant professors. Utsab is now assistant professor at Johns Hopkins, and Serena is now an assistant professor at UC Berkeley. So thank you, Ella, for being here. So I will hand it now to Chris, who's going to tell you about the Stanford Data Science.
Yeah, so my name is Chris Menzel. Stanford Data Science is a multidisciplinary connective tissue type organization within Stanford that has three main focus areas: early career researchers, faculty-led research, and a new GPU computing resource. And our early career researchers span graduate students and postdocs. We hire from all over campus and all over the world when it comes to postdocs, and bring early career researchers together in a mutually supportive, interdisciplinary cohort, and learning from each other, learning from experts in the field, and generally just supporting each other. The faculty-led research is both in our research centers as well as hiring new faculty. When we hire new faculty, it's in partnership with other departments on campus, other schools and departments on campus. So when they have searches, we join with them. And when there's a good fit, we can bring, we help bring new faculty. So far, we've brought 4, and we have slots for 2 more. And our research centers are focused on different thematic areas within data science and AI. You heard about 2, one around physics called Decoding the Universe, and then another one around neuroscience, neural data science. But we have 5 or 6 and growing every day. And then our GPU compute cluster is just kind of a start. It's significant, but could be bigger. And we're always looking for ways to squeeze more efficiency out of what we have. So we have both research data scientists, and we have open positions right now, as well as working with faculty researchers on optimizing their code and getting the most out of GPU compute for data-driven discovery, machine learning, model training, et cetera. So yeah, it's a little bit about Stanford Data Science. I'll hand it back to Julia.
Thank you, Chris. So now I'm going to hand this to, I'm going to hand this to Alex Cloninger to tell us about UC San Diego Data Science.
Hi, I'm Alex. So HDSI is a pretty fun and unique part of UCSD. So it is an institute as well as basically a department. And now it is actually an integral part of the School of Computing, School of Computing, Information, and Data Science. So HDSI as a entity has everything that you would expect from a department, undergrad program, master's program, PhD program, as well as faculty lines. So there are people that are 100% faculty in HDSI, joint appointed between HDSI and other departments. And the mission of HDSI is really to serve as a data science hub that connects to the rest of UCSD's campus and other campuses as well. So we have a broad focus in HDSI of just establishing scientific foundations of data science. This can be anything from theory and statistics and algorithms to, we have very large programs connecting to biomedical sciences, to cognitive sciences, to oceanography and climate sciences. Yeah, I believe about half of our faculty are joint appointed into other departments all around campus. I also mentioned that we are now part of a school. So we have actually partnered with the San Diego Supercomputing Center, which is a very large interdisciplinary group that has amazing compute resources, including the National Research Pipeline, which is a distributed, effectively supercomputer all over the West Coast that you can have access to in terms of CPUs, GPUs, all of that. And then also helping to sponsor Rising Stars is Encore, which is an NSF AI institute that focuses on complexities in data and optimization, responsible learning, and outreach and education. And that's a program that was partnered with UCLA and Austin. It's a little bit about HDSI.
Great, thank you. So now I will hand it to David Uminski.
Good morning, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here. I think this is probably my 6th year going to the info session for the Rising Stars program. For some of those that are aware, this was sort of built and initiated from the University of Chicago, and absolutely thrilled to see the pool and quality of the program grow, and our partners at Stanford and UCSD being an integral part of the future of this program. DSI really got started in 2022 at the University of Chicago, really to put forth the vision of building the field of data science and artificial intelligence for the University of Chicago. The institute itself is housed currently in the physical science division. We hire a lot of faculty directly into the departments in the physical science division, predominantly in statistics, physics, statistics, computer science, applied math, but additionally supporting interdisciplinary hires across campus. A very large postdoctoral program that really is one of the forefront investments in research to bring folks here and push the field forward. Probably one of the more exciting, although not listed here necessarily, is at Stanford, you saw some faculty-led centers. Our model at the Institute to support are actually these things called research initiatives, where we have 6 research initiatives led by faculty across campus to attack moonshot problems. Maybe the biggest difference between a research initiative and the definition of a center is we really do want them to rise, complete, and expand into what they'll be next or wind down. The ambition for these research initiatives include AI and science, internet innovation, data and democracy, AI for climate, and data ecology, as well as novel intelligence. So if you union up those 6 research initiatives, they engage just about 100 faculty across campus. While a large portion of those faculty do live in the physical sciences, an equally large size of folks live in places like the Econ Department, Harris School of Public Policy, Political Science, Booth School. And so really, like many of our colleagues here, really trying to be a nexus and also a center of gravity for both the foundations and applications of the fields of data science and AI. This Rising Stars program is integral to our success, as you can hear, really integral to the mission of the other 2 institutes in regard really just making sure we identify, foster, and support the next generation of research faculty and researchers at large in this space. So again, thrilled to be here. Happy to talk more about the DSI and the history of Rising Stars if there's any questions, but I will stop now.
Thank you, Alex. So this is the 6th annual Rising Stars in Data Science. For me, this is my first year, and I'm very excited about my participation this year. So the aim for this Rising Stars program is to celebrate the potential of exceptional data scientists through an intensive research and career workshop. So it's emphasizing both good research, and it's going to highlight your research, but it's also useful workshop for thinking about your future and your career moving on. So it's the aims to highlight and fast track the careers of data science scientists, and as they transition to the job market, and this can be for postdoctoral research, for research positions and industry and tenure track positions. So it's not exclusive of academic positions. This program will showcase exciting and innovative data science initiatives at the 3 universities, UC San Diego, UChicago, and Stanford Universities. And it will provide PhD students and postdocs the opportunity to meet people, the opportunity to plug into data science networks, platforms, and opportunities. And an important part of this program is that we're going to have mentorship and career development workshops and how to navigate the career in data science. Data science is still a new field, and it's not set on stone what is the normal track for someone working in this area. So the idea is then to meet people, early faculty who were in your shoes previous years, and can provide and share some of the experiences and provide mentorship to you. Sorry. So the format of the workshop includes research talks from you. It will showcase your work, and you want to learn also from your peers and see who is in the job market and the level of research that is being done. We're going to have also keynote talks from previous attendees, from previous alumni and from faculty from the 3 institutions. We're going to also hold panels on data science research and career development. And more importantly, we want to have one-on-one mentoring meetings with faculty, faculty working on areas similar to yours. So we're going to try to match faculty with mentees. And this hopefully will provide a very valuable experience to you and a long-term relationship that you can build with your mentor. It allows us to meet people from the 3 institutions, and it's a great opportunity for you to meet faculty from these institutions, but also for us to get to meet you and to learn about your exciting work and your future career. And this year is going to be in person on the Stanford campus. The Stanford campus is very nice. It feels like a resort. So I think that you're going to have a good time here on campus. And it's also a good opportunity to meet people from Stanford, PhD students, researchers, postdocs, fellows, and faculty. So why is it a good idea to participate? It's a good idea because you get one-on-one mentoring sessions with faculty. I think that is one of the most valuable aspects of this program. There's going to be networking with faculty, researchers, postdocs, and all your peers who are going through the same stage as you and through the same job application stage as you, and that's going to be very valuable. It's a great platform to showcase your research. And you also get to improve your communication skills. You're going to get more comfortable presenting your research. You're going to receive feedback from faculty. It's just a good practice opportunity for you before going to the full job search and the real job market search. There is going to be support and guidance for improving your communication. You're going to also meet, as I already said, we're going to meet other data science researchers in the Rising Stars program. You're going to be now part of the Rising Stars community. You're probably going to go to some conference and you're going to say, oh, I met you there in the Rising Stars. Or maybe, oh, yeah, I was there in the 2024. And you can have that sharing experience with many people in the industry. So you're going to also learn about future positions, postdoctoral and tenure track faculty positions, and there's going to be reimbursement for your travel, so it's a great opportunity, I think. Many reasons for you to participate. So there's going to be many faculty mentors from the three institutions, a little bit more over-representation from Stanford this year because it's being hosted here at Stanford. The mentors that we have been inviting are going to attend the Rising Stars research talks. They will provide feedback, career advice, and engage in research discussions during the one-on-one mentoring meetings. And the idea is that you will have between 1 to 3 faculty mentors assigned to you. And the idea is to build these meaningful connections that will extend far beyond the workshop. So on the right, you will see a very small sample of mentors. So that will include me, that will include Susan Clark, who is an assistant professor in physics, Laura, who is a neuroscientist, Li Hua Lei, who is an assistant professor of economics, and he was also an alum from the Rising Stars program a few years ago. Alex Cloninger, who is the executive director of the Data Science Institute at UC San Diego that you already met in this presentation. People that come to mind, John Ducci as well from Stanford, but there are many other faculty. And as I said before, you're going to be matched to your mentor according to your research and interests. So these are some numbers from our alumni. So this year we expect, so last year we had 30 students participate in this program from 18 different institutions. 67% of all the Rising Stars obtain a fellowship, a postdoc, or an assistant professor or researcher positions, both in industry and academia. 33% of them have postdoc fellowships, 13 industry, and 33 assistant professorships. I think maybe Molly, if you're here, do you remember the number from the year before, from 2023? Or someone? Because I think it was, yeah.
It was, so sorry, Molly wasn't able to make it today. Molly is actually the bearer of all this great news. I think the numbers are a little bit higher, but that's just over time what happens. I mean, when we update to 2024, it'll move even higher. But I think the icons of the faculty, of the institutes below and industry positions below are representative of multiple years of where people are typically getting their next positions.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it was above 90% the year before, although 67% is still great. I was just saying it was, it's a good number to have. So these are some of the testimonials from alumni that it was very useful for learning about adjacent fields. So because data science is so inclusive, it's not just statistics or computer science, but it goes far and beyond about any field, any scientific or social field that has data and those data analysis and data science. So you get to meet people that are not just from your PhD field. It was incredibly helpful for job research. It's useful for faculty applications, and some people thought that it was eye-opening about everything that is involved in the faculty position. It is a big service that we're doing for creating this opportunity. Okay, so these are some pictures of previous years. I think last year that was in UC San Diego. There were 30 Rising Stars, 19 faculty mentors, and there were also additional panelists who participated. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything here at this moment from those who participated last year. Maybe David?
Well, I was about to say, Alex was one of the co-hosts. Those are all from UCSD. Yeah, they did a really remarkable job. I think, when you look at the exit feedback from this, I think one of the things people were most excited about was actually hearing from each other. Every year new collaborations start, I want to reemphasize that among our own Rising Star cohort and now multi-years out, multi-year collaborators. So I think this opportunity, it's a very intimate setting. That photo is pretty representative of the whole group. It's 25-ish Rising Stars fellows. And then what you don't see in there is a pile of faculty from all three institutions kind of around as well, to kind of have a lot of informal mentoring. You will get a lot of mentoring in this program, both your assigned mentor and additional folks to collide with. So yeah, I don't know, Alex, maybe you want to say a little bit more about how last year went.
I mean, I think you summarized it pretty well, but I think it went fantastically. I'll say from a faculty perspective, it's amazing to meet all of these, phenomenal grad students and postdocs that quite frankly put me to shame from when I was a grad student and postdoc. But yeah, I mean, it's I've already started to form collaborations with people through it, and it's really, I'm always happy to help answer questions about the job interview process or how to strategize about your first couple of years as a professor, stuff like this. It's an awesome program. It's a program that I kind of wish I would have been able to find when I was a grad student.
Yeah, that's my thinking as well. I wish I had this. All right, so now we're gonna listen from alumni of the program. Chitra, can you please introduce yourself?
Cool. Yeah, so hi, I'm Utsav. I attended the program last year when I was in San Diego from some of those pictures you saw. I am about to start as a brief introduction to myself, I'm about to start a new job as an assistant professor at Johns Hopkins in the computer science department. And right now I'm finishing up my postdoc at the Broad Institute, which is kind of right next to MIT's campus. And I previously, last year, finished my PhD in computer science at Princeton. And my research kind of broadly is at the intersection is in computational biology, sort of at the intersection of data science and genomics. I'm currently working on kind of methods for looking at spatially resolved data using techniques from deep learning. And I previously have done some more theoretical work involving graph theory and networks. And yeah, I was on the job market last year when I had attended the Rising Stars event. And so yeah, to kind of describe briefly my experience in the program and some of the things I really liked, I guess overall it was actually really fun. It was a great program. I think one thing that it was very well organized. I got to see San Diego, which is pretty cool. I actually was kind of on the fence about applying to faculty jobs last year until sort of attending this program. So it's actually I wasn't sure if I was kind of good enough for the applications, what kind of work it would take to fill out the applications, do your research statement and teaching statement, all these different things. And so it was actually really illuminating coming to this Rising Stars event, and you have all these panels with different faculty members talking about what was their experience when they were on the job market, how did they kind of format their research statement, how did they talk about their work, how did they prepare for giving their job talks. And kind of seeing firsthand or hearing firsthand a lot of those experiences, and kind of getting that sort of hidden curriculum a little bit of what you should really talk about in your job talks, how you should present your work. I think that was actually really motivating and really pushed me to apply, actually get up off my butt and apply for jobs. And so I'm very grateful for that. In terms of the panels, they were actually kind of interesting also because I guess now that I'm going to start a faculty job, there's actually a lot of really useful information about what it's like being a faculty in your first few years, how you should recruit students, think about time management. All of those are even now, I was just going through my notes that I'd written from the event, and they're all really useful. Another thing, I forget if this was mentioned or not, there's an opportunity to present your work in a kind of 10-15 minute lightning talk. That was actually quite useful. One thing that I didn't realize that for a lot of you initially will do a phone interview with some schools before you do an on-site interview. And in a lot of those phone interviews, you actually are doing 10 to 20 minute presentations for your work. So this is literally a way to practice for your job interview. And the feedback I got was really helpful. I basically there's a lot of things I had to fix in my talk, but it was a great way to it was great to actually do that in this kind of controlled setting as opposed to in an interview where afterwards you feel really bad about yourself. So that was I don't know, it was all like very helpful for being on the faculty job market. The mentors with program was also kind of like very nice. Like actually Alex was my assigned mentor during the um like event, and we actually sort of started a collaboration from that. And there's a lot of us like talking about like kind of math and different problems. And so I don't know, it's like kind of it's not just about like kind of putting yourself on the job market, but you can actually just talk about like science with other people, which is quite nice. And then I guess one more thing, someone had mentioned like networking, and I think like more than just thinking about it as like traditional, like I don't know, networking, like you're meeting people and making connections. I think one thing that's really useful is that you're just like meeting a lot of people who are in the exact same boat as you, people who are like in their last year of grad school or like starting a postdoc and thinking about being on the job market. And I think having that like share, being able to meet all these people who are in the same boat, at least for me, that was like another reason that I had like it pushed me to apply for the job market, because you're just seeing like everyone in the exact same position as you get to talk about like whether you think you can like apply for jobs, like how much work it'll take, just like kind of the stress of like balancing these different deadlines along with your own research and like your advisors, like kind of having that like support is very, I don't know, it's something that's a bit hard to find like normally because you're surrounded maybe by people who are much younger, like more junior or more senior than you. And I don't know, academia is like a small world in general, so you're very likely to see the same people over and over. I think actually in my cohort from Rising Stars, 2 or 3 people are also joining Johns Hopkins through this Data Science Institute. So like that's like maybe 10, more than 10% of the hires this year. So I don't know, you're like definitely gonna meet like the people at this event over and over. And it's also kind of useful because I don't know, I work in biology and I'm at this biomedical institute where everyone kind of talks about biology all the time. And at this at Rising Stars, there's a lot of people who are doing like very broad applications of data science. Like most people are not in biology; they're thinking about things like I don't know, like cryptography or like physics or society and ethics. And so it's very useful to just kind of talk to people outside of your domain too, who also still have shared interests in kind of data science and like methods development. Um, yeah, overall, it was like a very fun event, and I'm very glad I went.
Great. Thank you, Tsab. I will now hand it to Serena Cheng.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for all that with Sal. That was great, and I agree with a lot of that. So I'm Serena. I just started an assistant professorship at UC Berkeley. Actually, just started on July 1st, so very recently. I have a joint appointment in EECS in the computer science division and also in computational precision health, which is a newish program at UC Berkeley that's joined with UCSF. That's basically about the intersection of computation and health. I'm also part of the Berkeley AI Research Lab, or BEAR for short. Previously, I did my PhD in computer science at Stanford, so it's nice to see all the Stanford representation here. I was advised by Yuri Leskovic and Johan Ugander. And then I did my postdoc this past year at Microsoft Research in the computational social science group. So I'd be happy to talk about that. It's a bit specific, where I basically accepted my faculty position at the end of my job market year in 2024, and I deferred by a year to do a postdoc, and I thought that was nice in a bunch of ways. So my research is broadly in AI and society. The methods I use are AI, graphs, and data science. I'm especially interested in intersections of AI and human behavior, including, for example, modeling human behavior with AI. During my PhD, I did a lot of work on modeling the spread of COVID over mobility networks that we can infer from passive data sources like aggregated GPS or search logs. More recently, I've been shifting towards simulating and generating behaviors with generative AI, for example, large language models and diffusion models. And a lot of my work has applications in public health and in social science. Um, so yeah, I found this program really useful. I did it in 2023, so basically in the fall of the year that I was on the job market. A bunch of things that I found useful. I think the first thing that I can speak to is the cohort. Since it's been a few years since I did the program, I can tell you that you still talk to the people that you met at Data Science Rising Stars. I still have like a group chat with a bunch of people who were on the job market in the same year as me, many of which were in Data Science Rising Stars. And we've been chatting about everything from the job market and interview season to after we accepted our offers of our postdoc year. I think of all the changes that are happening in our country right now and thinking about what it means to start as a professor in that climate. I think just having that sort of support group and having people that you can talk to who are going through the same stages as you, those could be friends for life. So I think the sort of cohort is really nice. You can do a lot of peer mentoring too, of like reading each other's research statements, of watching each other's job talks and all of that. So the cohort was, I think, really stand out. But then there's also a bunch of other things. The mentorship, like several have mentioned already, I was at the stage that I had statements and I had a first version of my job talk, but I hadn't gotten seriously into interviews yet. And it was really nice, I think, in particular, to have someone to read my statements who understood data science and understood the sort of space that I was in, but didn't know my research very well. Because I think that's like a good proxy for the kinds of people who will be reviewing you on the job market. And for convenience reasons, you often do ask your close friends or your advisor to read your research statement, but they don't have the same eye because they've known your research this whole time. And so having someone fresh who understands the area but doesn't know you read your research statement, I got some feedback that I found extremely useful and was different from the feedback I had gotten before. So I think that was really great. And then I think the last thing to mention is that data science is just it's a nice space to inhabit. Like sometimes when I'm in computer science, I don't always find the people who I'm most excited to talk to. I do like a lot of things about computer science, but I think in data science, it's so cross-cutting across disciplines. And so, you can talk to a biologist, you can talk to a social scientist, you can talk to a public health person, and they've been trained in a different discipline from you. They're often in a different department, but you have these common things, these common passions for data, these common data cleaning problems, these algorithms that you all have to deal with. And so I think the sort of cross-cutting nature of being able to bring together people from different disciplines and departments and bring them into one space, this speaks to both data science rising stars, but also all of these great data science institutions at Stanford, at UC San Diego, at UChicago, and so on. And as you can see now, I have a cross-disciplinary appointment myself. So I'm in computer science 50%, but I'm also 50% in the computational precision health program, which itself is also an interdisciplinary program. So it is really nice to, I think, spend so much time with interdisciplinary people and also understand, I think, specifically for the job market, what does it mean to be an interdisciplinary candidate? And how do you manage all of the different sort of presentations that you need to give? And how do you translate your work, which in its core essence is applicable to a lot of things, but maybe in the more surface level language that you speak is different across disciplines. And how do you translate in a way that people can understand and appreciate?
Great. Thank you, Serena. That was great. Both of you, thank you both. These are examples of profiles from people who have participated in the program. I will not go over all the names, but this is a website here. There's a link where you can see all the different profiles of people. So this is to say that it's not just exclusive, as Serena said, and we had said before, it's not exclusive of computer science or statistics. There's people doing data science across many fields, and so if you think if you're unsure whether this is a good program for you, I invite you to check out this website and see the diversity of the different backgrounds of people who are participating in the program. Eligibility and guidelines. So applicants must be full-time graduate students within 1 year of obtaining a PhD or a current postdoctoral scholar, fellow, or researcher. We welcome applications from a wide variety of fields and backgrounds. Any eligible PhD or postdoc who is engaging in rigorous data-driven inquiry is encouraged to apply. Applicants both from and outside UC San Diego, Chicago, or Stanford are encouraged to apply. As I mentioned before, last year we had applicants from 18 different institutions. Applicants may only submit one application per year. You're required to get a couple of letters of recommendation from no more than 2 faculty members or advisors. If you have any questions about your eligibility, you can email us at risingstars@stanford.edu. And you can also have questions. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end today. So the requirements, you can check the details online. The applications are due August 1st of 2025, but it's already open for applications through the Stanford Data Science website. We're going to ask you for your CV, biography, a short 100 words statement about you, some research keywords, research talk title, and research talk abstract. And this is for us to match to your mentor and for the application process. This is a very competitive program. I just want to mention that. It is a very competitive program, but I don't want to, this is not meant to discourage you from applying. Of course, you should apply. But what I want to say is that this is an opportunity to show the best of you, your best. So highlight your best. So use this opportunity in your resume and your biography and on your statements to highlight all the good things about your research and your background, and not just what you have achieved as a researcher, but also what you are planning to do in the future, your research goal, your long-term career goal, your long-term research goal, scientific questions that you're interested in, etc. Recommendations indicating the support from at least one or two faculty members or advisors. And I also want to mention that the three universities, UC San Diego, UChicago, and Stanford University, are committed to broadening participation in the field of data science. So we ask you to write a short statement, a 300-word statement about your experiences, values, and contributions to the field that demonstrate this commitment. Yeah, so accepted participants will be reimbursed for qualified travel expenses. What we look for in applicants, we will review the applications according to these four criteria. One is the research potential, that's overall potential for research excellence, demonstrated research statement, goals and long-term career goals, everything that will go into your research statement, your academic progress or your previous research up to date, so evidence of research, of good research and publications, coursework in data science and adjacent field, and of course endorsement from your recommenders. And importantly, your future directions and how your work has an impact either in science or solving real problems, societal problems. Your approaches, methods, or theory that advances research innovation in an interdisciplinary or foundational approaches in data science or real-world challenges. As I said, this is not just exclusive for people from CS and statistics. Your research can be impactful in many ways, not just in developing systems or doing mathematics or theoretical statistics. It's very, very broad in data science. And your commitment to broadening participation, so you will have a chance to write a short statement, as I mentioned before, 300-word statement about your commitment to broadening participation, how you have done that in the past and how you intended to do it in the future. This is the timeline. So we are already accepting applications. The application deadline is August 1st. Decisions will be done mid-September, and the acceptance deadline will be October, the first week of October. And the workshop will be held in November 11th and 12th here at Stanford. All right, so this is time for questions. I think there are already many questions in the chat. I do not have access to the chat, or I don't see it immediately. So I will ask Laura Ventura to read some of the questions for me.
Thank you for all the great questions. We actually refrained from answering since they're relevant to most people. And hello, everyone. Laura Ventura from Stanford Data Science here. Let me start from the top. From Chen, is there any preference for postdocs who are looking for a tenure track job versus people that have already found a job? Maybe Alex or David can address that.
I can answer. Right. So it's designed for people sort of on the they're in their postdoc, I would say on the job market. With that said, there is definitely a lot of discussion in panels about how to, work as an early career faculty and how to, plan your research plan and all of that. So it would definitely be relevant even if you had a position already lined up. But if you're in your postdoc now, then you do.
Yeah, Alex, right. I'll also just throw in there, I know he's being quick, but the same applies to grad students, tenure track versus your next role. I see a question later about, does this help you get jobs? I think, we're not running a causal study, but you just heard from some of the alumni where the benefits really are. I think it's pretty definitively yes. Quite frankly, I mean, UChicago, you can look this up yourself, have hired into our tenure track roles, prior rising stars, many postdocs. You can see that's the case at UCSD in San Diego, that there's a track record there. So the institutions themselves hosting will be talking about their opportunities, but it will also really, I think it's a bigger multiplier effect than that. Usab joining Hopkins, but there was a lot of things that we were trying to provide folks. If I would describe just one thing that's kind of in these questions is, and maybe alumni can push back on this if this is not true, we're really trying to give what is often hidden and hard to access information about job searches and careers. It's very candid and it's very intimate. So I think if you want to think about one of those maybe benefits that's not being very well in your face advertised, it's an intimate setting, 25 folks, maybe about half that in terms of other faculty from institutions, giving the best possible advice that they can give across early career stuff to job search to other questions. And that on its own is kind of the way you unlock a lot of questions around how do I get a job? How do I succeed in the first year? That's really what we're trying to help with.
And I'll just make one additional comment, going back to what David was saying about helping with hiring. This is just anecdotal, but I know that there have been previous Rising Stars sessions where UCSD faculty have been sitting and listening to some of the talks and leaned over to each other and said, hey, you should really encourage that person to apply for this faculty position. We've hired several Rising Stars previous participants as tenure track faculty, both in the math department and in our previous. That's just a very, specific level to UCSD, but I think more broadly, there's you can get a lot of benefit up to it for being the government.
All right, we actually have a great question about approximate acceptance rate. David or Alex, I don't know if there's historical data. Stanford is a latecomer to Rising Stars, so if you have any historical data that you can share.
This is always a difficult question for me to answer because I think there's kind of no good answer here to this. First off, it changes every year. So whatever I tell you, it's probably not the most up to date. Historically, but then I'll let San Diego disclose if they like. We don't actually, address this question. It is a competitive program. If I give you a number, some people are going to take that as a reason not to apply or to definitely apply. We want everyone who's gotten this far onto this info session where this sounds like a great benefit to apply. The application too, while it's a little more than just pressing an email saying I want to go, all the things we're asking for actually contribute to your application packet in the future. There's very little redundancy here to zero. So for those that this sounds interesting to, all I have to say is just apply. The folks that come in here, you can see year over year, we publish everyone. They come from a lot of different institutions, come from a lot of different backgrounds. Those quick questions were like, I'm in the business school, should I apply? The answer is yes to that. If I'm in X and or you want to make the compelling case that you're in the data science field as well, and this is a benefit to you, and you're going to bring things to this community that's going to benefit everyone there, just apply. Now, Alex, if you want to tell them the San Diego numbers, you're welcome to, but that's usually my answer
No,
to
no,
that.
I mean, it's the same, funny enough, the acceptance rate, I think, is not the number that we pay attention to at all. So it's really a function of how many people apply. The numerator, which is the number of people that are coming, that attend, is really the thing that we're looking at. So we want it to be a small group of really good people. Last year it was 30. I would imagine it would be around that number again.
Yeah.
So that's really the thing, and then the denominator can change depending on how much we come in about the program. Yeah, but yeah, and again, as David said, business school, social sciences, everything. If you feel like you're doing data science, you're doing data science. And I know UCSD, UChicago, Stanford, all of us have broad enough programs that we will find the right mentors for you in the program. So yeah, in fact, I know last year there were a couple of people that we accepted and then had to say, okay, these are great people. They're maybe a little bit outside of our traditional data science core areas. Let's find the right people to convince them to come to the Rising Stars sessions and the panels and all of that. And we'll actually tailor it to make sure that we have somebody that's representative of all of the applicants and all of the accepted Rising Stars students.
All right, there's a great question for regarding staff researchers. If somebody is within a couple of years from graduating with their PhD degree, do we accept them, or is this only for postdoctoral researchers?
I think that the definition of postdoc is being used very liberally here. So it's really people that are either finishing their PhD or just past their PhD, looking to break into a larger data science career, data science research career in academia or industry or national labs, right? Yeah, the exact title I think can be pretty variable. I know when technically after my PhD, I was a visiting assistant professor, not called a postdoc, right? So, it doesn't really, yeah, that's kind of just being used as like an all-inclusive.
I just want to say just a bit about the jobs in industry. I know we've said that we're open to folks looking for jobs in industry, but just to be really clear, the mentorship that you'll be getting at this workshop is from faculty, and it's really aimed towards academic careers. You certainly, and many faculty go on to join industry and get commercial jobs later in life. But if your main focus is to get an industry job and you're not at all interested in academia, if you think that this faculty feedback on your job talk is going to be helpful for that, that's great, but it's really not the main focus.
I'll add one caveat to that, which is that I think sometimes places like Meta and Google and those types of things, those research positions are effective positions. So yeah, I think yeah, it is definitely going to be feedback from faculty when it's a research area. So very much a research, people looking for a research type position, and obviously most of those.
And we had one example last year where a student was actually thinking about launching a company, and the faculty you paired that student with was like, let me help you launch that company. And that's what they did. That is it. Chris is right. You'll see predominantly this is advice being given by junior, mid-career, and senior faculty. But many of them do have students that go on to get jobs in industry, and they talk about, and those questions do come up very organically in there. But Chris is right.
Yeah, I just want to differentiate from like a boot camp that will get you, work on your whiteboarding coding skills. This is not that kind of mentorship, much more research oriented.
All right, we're getting still lots of questions, and if we don't get to all of them, we'll respond via email, but there's one asking, am I eligible for the workshop if I don't have any current affiliation but have a completed PhD degree and looking to transition to a data science career?
Yes, but see our previous conversation about, if you're If you've been out of the PhD for a while and you're looking to get a job at Meta, maybe not the best thing. If you're looking to get a postdoc or looking to get a faculty position, that's fine.
Perfect, thank you. And somebody's asking, I'm defending in December 2026. Should I apply this cycle or the next year?
I just wrote yes. I'm trying to do the quick ones. Yeah, apply. We take grad students, we take postdocs, right? And so let's see.
All right, let's see.
Next question, Laura.
Yeah, sorry, we're getting so many. For long-term goals in the research statement, should it cover the future career plans along with research goals or vice versa?
Yeah. So I've read 6 years of these research statements. So just a couple things that I'll say. We like those are read closely. So there's definitely a glance at the CV, but when the faculty are discussing these, there's two things that we're interested in: is the talk you're going to bring, which is not the thing being dressed here. So really focusing on that description as really demonstrative of what we're going to hear, because we do like a diversity of different types of topics in that areas. But on the research statement, there's a little bit of my answer here, unfortunately, is an and. Like this research statement is the 2-page version of your research statement for your job. So it's almost like a little bit longer executive summary of your longer research statement. Shockingly, some research statements are only 2 pages, and that's their length. Well, you'll get advice on that. But so I want to think about the research statement appropriately is to think about it as a little bit longer than the executive summary version of your job market research statement. People are looking to see how well you can summarize your deeper vision, but they are looking for the same stuff. What is your vision for your program? Like, what is it that you see out in the future about where your research is going? And then the ability to communicate the depth of what you've accomplished as well. So, Alex, I mean, you did a reading last
Yeah,
year.
by
I
the way,
mean,
I'll just make a comment about that. So this is maybe just an unsolicited piece of advice, but when I applied for actual faculty positions, my research statement was 2 pages describing all my research and then additional pages delving into more detail of individual papers and directions. And that way it was very modular because some places would be like, give us 5 pages, give us 6 pages, give us 3 pages.
mhm.
You could module, you could, change it around, but you always have those 2 pages. Those 2 pages are exactly what we're looking for in the research statement. So it's the summary of your field, what you have contributed to your field, what you plan to contribute. And yeah, it's good. It's, good to start working on it because that's exactly what you're going to need for,
Soon.
Oh, the advice starts early. You guys are getting some freebie now, but a preview of what's to come.
All right, there are only
I saw one in there that was something about a national lab. Maybe somebody already answered it, but I was gonna say yes, very much. If you're looking for
Definitely.
positions in the national lab, I mean, I work with national labs all the time. A bunch of my colleagues
Yeah.
work with national labs. That's exactly the type of position that is like the not straightforward tenure track faculty position, but it's still very much in line.
I'm going back to some questions that were answered in the chat just in case people missed them. So this recording will be made available via our social media channel, website, and also we will email the link to everyone that registered to participate today. Can undergrads join the workshop? I'm going to answer it. Unfortunately, the answer is no, but feel free to jump in, Alex, David, or Julia.
That's right. It's built not for undergrads, unfortunately. We'll see you in the future.
And
Too early, yeah.
somebody asked, I think we sort of addressed it, but maybe if we want to stress, if somebody comes from social sciences, are they eligible to participate in this program?
Yes, of course.
Yes, you could see them in the past. I want you to know the representation on the final list is not a reflection of their competitive nature. It is actually a reflection of the proportion in the pool more than so. Like if you're like, I only see 1 or 2 from my field over the last couple of years, I'm just telling you right now that is much more a reflection of representation than it is like the evaluation and quality of the person's background. So we do have a diversity. Not every field is represented. We do the best we can, getting many disciplines together with a slight overrepresentation, of course, in computer science, math, stats, data science folks, but we have disciplinary folks on these reviews as well.
And I think we have time for at least one question that I would love to throw to Serena and Utsav. Utsav, you already answered in the chat, but it's so important and so relevant and also exciting. So given the impressive background and resume of the alumni who spoke today, I was wondering how much this workshop played a role in their success.
Yeah, no, I think the question was interesting. I guess someone mentioned I doubt there's like a causal like link between this workshop and success necessarily, or that you can prove one. But I think David and others had answered it kind of well, in that like I think the main benefit of the workshop is sort of a like kind of knowledge that about like being on the job market and like doing well in it that you don't necessarily know just from like the official like, oh, these are the materials you should submit. Like the sort of like hidden curriculum of knowledge. Like, for example, like Alex had mentioned, like having this kind of like executive summary at the beginning of your research statement, which in case people don't read all of it, which I learned from the workshop, that seemed to be a good thing that helped. And so I think these sort of like smaller like tips and tricks, I thought this workshop was very helpful for.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think it's hard to establish anything causal, but I think there are at least mechanisms through which you could expect this to help. I think one of them is just the whole preparation process of getting a really early head start on writing your materials and polishing them. The second thing is the mentorship, of course, that you get once you're here, because people will help you shape your research statement, your research talk. So that's very direct. And then I think the third thing is I think universities do care about seeing this sort of recognition. I don't think it's going to make or break your application, but I think it is sort of like a nice cherry on top to have on your CV. So I think those three things I don't know what the causal effect size is, but I think at least the mechanism is there for it to help.
Thank you, everyone, for participating in this info session. There are probably more questions. Please send them to risingstars@stanford.edu. Also, check our website. We'll be posting the slides and the video for this info session there. And if in doubt, please apply.
Mhm.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you.